Hello, the internet, and welcome back to another episode of Dbacks Dispatch. We are your hosts, Gabriel and Brandon. Now, there's a lot to break down from this Dodgers series. I think we can all agree that the Dbacks probably should have walked away with a sweep because of the way the starting pitching performed. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, but we'll get into it in a bit. But we just want to say, everybody who is joining on in on YouTube, welcome on in. This is your first time joining us. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss another episode. If you're listening to a Spotify, an Apple Podcast, wherever you get your podcast from, be sure to rate and review us. Check us out on Twitter, on Discord, TikTok, Instagram. We are all over at Dbacks Dispatch, and check out the written articles and the great content on AZ Snake Pit. And if you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the chat. And if we have time at the end of the episode, we'll be getting to them. So I guess, I'll start off with you, Brandon, then I'll give my overall thoughts on the series. But I guess we've had at least a day to cool down a little bit from the way things went last night. But overall, what are your initial thoughts and feelings about this series?
It just feels like every series we take like one step forward, two steps back. Like it feels like we're talking about the same struggles in every series over and over and over again. I know there's a lot of the fan base that's getting frustrated, which completely understandable. And I've been saying it pretty much all season so far. It's early. I'm about a week away from not being able to really say that. Like, for me, it was always June 1st to June 15th. That's when you can see what the team truly is. That's why most teams don't make trades until July 1st, because you don't know what your team truly needs up until that point. So there were a lot of good things from this series. Like you said, the starting pitching, in my opinion, has been pretty much since like the third week of the year. Like, it's been really, really good. Like, I know everyone was worried like those first 2 weeks, and I was like, let's give them like 3 or 4 runs through the rotation. And I think since then, all of them have pretty much been consistent, like, for the most part. So I just, there are 3 of the 5, in my opinion, that are going to just keep doing what they're doing, and they're going to do it the rest of the year. Like we know who those 3 are, and we know what they're going to do.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. Just, it seems like every time we come on here is just, all right, well, this worked out, but this didn't. And I just, this is at a point in the season where after a couple days from now, you're talking about being a third of the way through the season. This is no longer the first week or second week of the season. We've seen what this team is to a certain extent. There has been some injuries, like Cattell got injured, and then obviously J Mart and Puck have been injured. But so have all the other teams. The Dodgers have been severely limited and severely injured. They're at 30 wins. The Padres, to a certain extent, same thing with the injuries. The only team that's, for the most part, stayed healthy has been the Giants. And you're seeing, them take advantage of that. But yeah, it's just, this was such a frustrating series, especially with the way the starting pitching went. I believe they averaged 6 innings each and 2.5 runs each start. That should be enough to win. Early on in the season, we talked about how they were focusing so much more on run prevention rather than run scoring. 2.5 runs by your starters should get you a win 2/3 of the time. But unfortunately, we didn't see that because of how just absolutely pathetic and anemic this offense has been. And we knew that coming into this season, that the offense wasn't going to be as good as last year's. But I just didn't think they were going to be this bad, like to the point where they're struggling to put up one run over and over and over again. They'll have the one big game where they'll score a bunch of runs, and then the next two they will combine for 3 runs, like they did in this case. Like they didn't score until the ninth in the other game. That's the only reason why they put up 3 runs. It's just because of some very late inning heroics from Corbin and Gabby. But other than that, especially in this last game yesterday, he scored 1 run. You can't have that happen, especially when you have Corbin Burns going 7 innings. Corbin Burns would have had to throw a complete game shutout in order for this team to have any sort of chance of winning because of how terrible the offense has been. And like you're saying, one step forward, 2 steps back, and that's what the series was. They should have won the series. They should have actually swept the series. And it's so frustrating. It's just over and over and over again. Where, like I said, we're a third of the way through the season. This team hasn't moved out of fourth place. They've been in fourth place since the first weekend of the season. Those 4 games versus the Cubs. They went 2-2. Everyone else was on winning streaks. It was 3-1, then 4-0s. They haven't moved at all. They haven't moved an inch. If anything, they're falling further behind. They're 2 games out of that third wild card spot. They're 5 games out of the division. And again, it's all in range for them, to make an actual good run at it. Like we've seen with the Cardinals. The Cardinals went and had a stretch where they won 8 or 9 games. Same with the Twins, I believe.
13 with the Twins.
And freaking Angels have won like 8 games in a row. And with this talent on this team, with the pitching, with the, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, those are MVP candidates. Gino can hit 30 to 40 bombs. Naylor can hit 30 bombs. Gurriel can hit 30 bombs. You have so much talent on this team for them to be performing the way they have. And, we've talked about it before. Like, yes, it's early, but you don't want it to get late early. And as of right now, it just seems like they're trending towards that way. And at what point do we call a spade and say this team is not going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I'm not going there till August because if you look at when they've made the playoffs, they're about in the same spot. Like there's been a couple seasons where they were like 6 or 7 or 8 games over 500. We're at 2 right now. Now our pace right now, we wouldn't make the playoffs. We'd be at like 82, 83 wins. That would not be enough unless some of these other teams really fall off. Like we're talking about probably the Phillies, the Braves, the Brewers, the like all those teams really fallen off. And I don't think that's going to happen. Like we really need to be closer to 88 to 90 wins to make a playoff spot. And I truly believe this team has the talent to do that because the news was made today. J-Mart will be back for this St. Louis series, so he'll be activated in time for Friday. Now, I'm not saying that's going to fix our bullpen issues. I think it will help. It will allow us to have another high leverage guy back there, maybe put one of our guys like Beeks more into medium to low leverage. So I think that's going to help. John Gambadoro, I don't know if it was a report, but basically he said AJ Puck is eligible to come off the 60-day around June 18th, June 20th. Now, does he come off the 60-day at that point? I don't know. He did start his throwing program a couple of days ago, so that's a good start. And typically those throwing programs are, usually about 30 to 45 days. So I always thought Puck was July 1st. Personally, as soon as I saw they went on the 60-day and he ended up doing a throwing program, I'm like, yeah, that's like a 4 to 6 week process. So when we get Puck back, it's almost like we're making a trade deadline move again.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like that, as soon as we get some bullpen arms back, I think things are going to change a little bit, but I don't think the team should fully rely on that.
No.
Because same thing with Ketel coming back, we mentioned it. Like, don't expect Ketel to solve all their problems because that's just not going to happen. There's too many holes in his lineup right now and too many problems with his lineup that Ketel was just not going to solve everything as soon as he came back. But we're gonna get down to the nitty gritty. The game one. This was their only win, and even then, this game had some controversy to it. So Brandon Pfaadt started this game. He went 6 innings, 0 whiffs, 0 strikeouts. The only hits he allowed were three solo home runs, right?
Yep.
And he got the major league leading win, his number 7th win of the season. The D-backs win this game 9-5. And I think we're all riding high, but also a little bit frustrated at the way certain things worked out. So Brendan Pfaadt in this game, he threw 36 four-seam fastballs, 27 sweepers, 15 sinkers, 13 changeups, and 4 curveballs. So quite a bit of a good mix in this case. So here's the thing about Brendan Pfaadt versus the Dodgers. He has been absolutely excellent against them. I believe he's only had one blow up, but other than that, he's been really, really good. And so far in 6 games, not including the playoffs, he has 32 and 2/3, a 4.68 ERA, 32 strikeouts, 33 hits allowed, 4 wins, and 2 losses. Again, he had one blow up. I believe that was early last year, where he gave like 5 or 6 runs. But other than that, he's been absolutely excellent. So we saw a lot of weird comments about the Dodgers. The Dodger fans saying that how lucky he has gotten. Weirdly, apparently he's been getting lucky for the last 4 starts against them when he's been dominating them.
That's not luck, you guys. That's not luck.
What was it, or what has it been about Pfaadt's approach against the Dodgers that have worked so effectively against them?
I think what it is you're playing literally the best team in baseball, and I think the adrenaline, just the fact that you're going up against the best team in all of Major League Baseball, he just brings his game to a whole nother level. I know the stats that you were reading did not include the playoffs, but I think one of his best starts as a major leaguer was that Game 3 start in the 2023 divisional series at Chase Field. They needed winning that game, because if you allow the Dodgers to win one game in that series, they get their confidence back, and next thing you know, you could be back in LA for Game 5. So the fact that he was able to say, no, we're stopping this here, this is a sweep, and I think that just gave him the confidence, okay, I can pitch against this team, and I can be dominant, and I think he has that mindset every time he goes up against them. I think he just takes his game to a whole nother level, whether that's his preparation the couple of days before, knowing he's going to face them, or just being in a Diamondback uniform. We all know that it's not just Pfaadt that brings his game to new heights against the Dodgers. There's everyone else does. I feel like Jerry also plays really well when he plays them. Cattell does. We will get into it later. Gabby loves playing the Dodgers.
Yeah, and I think, especially with the way his last start went, Brandon Pfaadt, we had a discussion of, is this who he is, or is he going to be, is this pure regression, or is he going to just have a bad game? And I think this proves that he just had a bad game. I mean, he played against the Dodgers, 6 innings, 3 runs. All of them were just home runs at the end of the 6th inning. It hurt, but at the end of the day, he did give them a quality start. He did put this team in position to win, even though at that point they had a pretty big lead. But he still put this team in position to win, and they pulled off the game. Even though, as we can get into right now or a little bit later, but I just want to say about Pfaadt, everyone's talking about or at least the Dodger fans talking about the luck, oh, he's getting so lucky. He seems to be pitching to contact. Against the Dodgers specifically, he's not relying on the strikeouts, because if there's a team that just refuses to strike out, it's the Dodgers. We make such good contact on everything. They don't swing out of the zone. They don't reach out of the zone. And if they do, it's just because they're incredibly nasty pitches. And Brandon Pfaadt seems like he's working on those corners, getting to ground out, getting to fly out. It's hard contact, but it's nothing that I don't think that this team can't handle. So it's not luck. If you're going out on 4 or 5 straight starts where they look like this against Brandon Pfaadt, that's not luck. It's the game plan, and I think so far it's been working really well for him. Maybe at some point he's going to have to adjust. Maybe he will have to become more of a strikeout guy against them. but that's just not his game, and I don't think it should be his game. Like I said, he should be like an Aaron Nolan guy, just a lot of soft contact, getting quick outs, trying to work the counts, and then that way he's able to give him 6, 7 innings every time he's out there.
Yeah.
But
And we kind of talked about this in the past with him, because if you'll notice, when he doesn't go for the strikeouts and he goes to soft, like he doesn't get a lot of chase. And like we kind of asked, like, what would you rather have? Because when he goes for the strikeouts, it's sometimes where he gives up pitches that cover too much of the zone. And I always said I'd rather him go 6 innings with like 4 hits and they're with a lot of groundouts and flyouts over going, I don't know, 5 innings, but he gives out 4 homers, but he strikes out 6. Like, I am okay if he doesn't want to go for the strikeout and he gives us 6 innings with under 3 runs. I'm completely okay with that, because that means that we're in the game and we have a chance at winning. Because that's literally what you want. You want to win the game. It does, like, he could have a 12 strikeout game, but give up 5 runs. Like, it's not going to matter. Keep your team in the game.
yeah, and so I guess we can get to the controversy, which was the bullpen mismanagement with the question mark. The first 2 guys out of the bullpen, Juan Murillo has looked absolutely excellent his last few times he's gone out. He's just been so nasty, and I think it helps when he's focusing on, I believe, the sinker and the fastball, because the slider has good movement, but he just, if it's coming out at 89 and it catches any part of the zone, you can hit it for a home run. And if he's able to throw 100 with the fastball, then my guy, just throw that damn fastball. Like, make them hit it. And Scott McGough, he just got recalled. He looked excellent in this game. He's honestly looked pretty damn good his last few outings as well. But I will say, in Scott's defense, even though we made the jokes about maybe not wanting him on the team, but Scott, I was listening to the radio on Friday during the Rockies series, and Chris Garagiola brought up the fact that he interviewed him and he asked him about like his struggles last year and what he attributes to his struggles. And Scott said the main thing was he truly did not know where the ball was going when it left his hand. And
that's not what you want as a pitcher.
And Chris, he was a little reluctant to say, he had the yips, but it just seems like that's what it was. Like, Scott said that he, it became a mental thing as well. Like, anytime he went out there, he didn't know where the ball was going. So obviously that affected his confidence in his pitches and what he felt like he could throw. And unfortunately, that's something that happens, especially with relief pitchers. Sometimes they get to the point where they don't know where the pitchers are going. And with him, that seemed to be the case. And this year, so far, he seems to know where his pitchers are going. You see the way the catcher's set up. He throws the balls where they're supposed to be. He keeps those with split finger, whatever it is that he throws, keeps them low, gets a lot of swing and miss. He just made some guys look absolutely silly in this game. So when he was done with that, I honestly thought he had the 9th because of how depleted this bullpen has been. I expected him to come out for the 9th because I believe he only threw 14 pitches.
14. Yep. 14.
Scott McGough threw 14 pitches, absolutely embarrassed and undressed. I believe it was Ohtani, even one of those. And so everybody kind of expected him to come out for the 9th. He didn't come out for the 9th. Brian Thompson, who just had an absolute blow up a couple days before against the Rockies of all team, he came out in this game. And here's the thing, us common fans and keyboard warriors, as Tori calls us, we all questioned the decision to bring out Ryan Thompson instead of leaving Scott McGough. But you know who else did? Bob Brantley. Go back and watch that top of the 9th. The first thing Bob Brantley says is, why isn't Scott McGough out there and why is Ryan Thompson in this game? And his only explanation was, I think maybe Tori is trying to give him a good outing after having such a disastrous one. But at this point, Thompson has had like 3 or 4 disastrous outings in a row. I don't think he's getting any better. I think we kind of know who he is. And one of the main things that I think all of us had issue, not just that he didn't bring Scott McGough, he didn't bring in Christian Montes de Oca or the Osa either. He just got sent down to Reno. He was up here for 2
about a
series.
week.
didn't see a single inning, didn't throw a single pitch. This was the time to bring him up. When you have a 6-run lead in the ninth, facing the bottom of the Dodger lineup, that's when you bring in a guy who can throw 97, 98. Not, freaking Ryan, the flux capacitor Thompson with his 88 mile per hour fastball. And I just, you know, like I don't know what to do in this case. Like, what's the solution here? What do you think? Is his struggles due to his talent, or is it a mechanical issue?
I think it might be a mixture of both, but I'm leaning more towards mechanics because he is missing high a lot. And as a guy with a sinker and a slider again, he's not a submariner, he's not a sidearm, like he's kind of in between. He should be living at the bottom of the zone. Everything he throws should be in that bottom quadrant on both sides. And in the 2 games he pitched in this series, he wasn't. He kept missing high, and that's what's infuriating to me. His last 15 games, 14 innings pitched, an 8.36 ERA, 23 hits, 13 earned, 6 walks, and 14 strikeouts. Almost an 8.5 ERA in 14 innings is not good. I think what they're doing with him is they believe in him, so they're gonna just basically have him pitch his way out of his struggles. And I'm sorry, you cannot do that, Tori. Like that's the one decision with Tori that I did not understand. Like he's had 3, like you said, several bad outings in a row. Having him just pitch just to work his way through it, that's not something you do at the major league level. You do not sacrifice games like that. So for me, he needs to be in very, very low leverage till he gets his confidence back. This game right here, a 6-run lead was as low leverage as it comes. Now it was facing the middle of the order. Freddie Freeman, Teoscar, Will Smith. So but you have a 6-run lead. You would think that would be enough. But he has struggled his last 3 or 4 appearances, and I don't feel comfortable throwing him out there in a close game. I just don't. For me, it's like literally the opposite of what we said when Scott McGough came up. Like, only throw him out there if you're up by 7 or 8 or you're down by 7 or 8. Like, it's not going to matter at that point. I have no confidence in Ryan Thompson right now. Like, it's kind of like we said with what Scott McGough, like, he doesn't know where the ball is going. So, like, I don't, like, right now, like, I'm okay with him on the roster in the bullpen, but one more, like, bad outing, like, if he gives up, like, 1 run, it's not a big deal to me. It's like, if he comes in and he does this again, he gives up 3 or 4 runs, like, and I believe he has options left.
Oh, yeah,
So
he has 2.
So why not just send him down? Have him work on his struggles at their minor league level down in Reno. Don't have him work out his issues in these important games right now. Like, this upcoming series against the Cardinals, this game, because they are ahead of us by 1 game in the wild card. So, like, these games are going to be very important. So, like, you just can't have someone try and work their issues out against teams like that. So we'll see.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where you see him, like, not just was this a lower leverage situation, he had an even lower leverage situation against the Rockies, because it's the Rockies. I think they were up by like 1 or 2 runs at that point just because of the Beeks disaster. But Beeks, has been very good so far. It's kind of a strange situation with him, but it was what it was. Stadium was open. But again, that was one of those games where you felt, okay, like, they're up. There's time to bring in a flamethrower. Who's the flamethrower that they have available right now? It's Christian. What do? Put in Ryan Thompson with his 88-mile-per-hour fastball. I'm sorry, but that's just not going to get it done. I understand maybe his mechanics, maybe he doesn't know. An 88-mile-per-hour fastball just doesn't play in this league, and you're just asking for disaster at that point because unless he has just absolute disgusting pinpoint precision and can just hit those bottom and outside corners, he's not going to get it done. He has to throw strikes at some point, and if he doesn't know where the ball is going, if he's throwing it at 88, you have a guy who can throw 10 miles an hour faster, and he wasn't utilized at all in the Rocky series when they had multiple leads and they had low leverage situations against the Rockies. When instead they ended up having to use all their high leverage guys because of Ryan Thompson. And then in this game, same thing. I think he is what set this team behind, especially in the second game with Shelby Miller and company coming in at the end of the game. This was just an overall disaster from him, and he's just been this way the whole year. Like we mentioned before, he has one blow up game. He has 3 good outings in the blow up game. He hasn't even done that this month. He's been terrible this month. Like this month, I believe he's had one outing where he didn't give up a run. He's given up a run like in 7 straight outings. He just has not looked good at all, and I don't know why.
So
Like you said, why he
technically it's 2. He didn't give up a run against the Giants, but he did give up
one. It was like 1 out, I think, wasn't it? It's like 0.1 innings.
No, he threw 1 inning, and he gave up a hit. But the 2 ones prior against the Dodgers and the Mets is where he struggled.
Yeah.
So it's given up a run in 4 of his last 5.
And it's been multiple runs in a few of them
Yes.
as well. So it's not like just like you're saying, one run, you can get away with that a little bit, but it's been 7 runs, 7 runs in his last 2 outings that he's given up, just not being able to give outs. And, like you can blame him as well. A lot of it, the blame goes on him, but also Torrey for putting him in these situations where he just leaves him stranded out there to face 6, 7 batters until he finally pulls him. And in this case, that's what happened. He finally pulls him. Shelby Miller just comes in to get the last out, and you burn Shelby Miller again. Like he went 3 games in a row. So did Kevin Ginkel. You're just burning through guys because you make these weird decisions to bring in guys who clearly have nothing left in the tank as of right now. And if they're going to work through stuff, again, put them in Reno. They're going to be working through stuff. And unfortunately, I think this is the main issue. This was, I think, a catalyst for the rest of the series because they had to burn guys that they shouldn't have burned. But Tanner, we just want to say, comments, Tanner. He's saying that's a tough series loss and the offense is inconsistent. We're gonna get to that at the end here because this has just been a terrible offense overall. I think this whole season has been really, really tough to watch them just underperform over and over again. Okay, so let's go on to game 2. They lost this game 3-4, and I think this score seems to indicate a closer game that it might have actually been. So the starter in this game was Ryan Nelson, who's coming off of his first start, replacing Eduardo Rodriguez. And honestly, I thought he looked excellent. He went 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, and 2 strikeouts. Again, this is the Dodgers. You're not expecting a ton of swing and miss from them, but that's going to give you a lot of play. It's the fact that 5 innings and 1 earned run. He set this team up for success. He gave him a chance to win. And only because he's not fully stretched out, he went about 80 something pitches. If he was fully stretched out, I think he could have given this team 1 more inning as well. But with Rod now in the IL, Nelson got moved to the rotation. What sort of outings are we expecting out of Nelson? Is he going to be a 5-inning 1 earned run guy, or is he going to be 5 innings 3 runs, 5 innings 4 runs?
If he can repeat this with every start, he ain't leaving the rotation. Like, he doesn't need to be Corbin Burns-esque. He does not need to. He just needs 5-6 innings, 3, maybe 4 runs. Like, for me, that's all I need. Because with Erod, it feels like, all right, we're going to need a long man because Erod's only going to give us 4 innings. With Ryan Nelson, if he can give us 5 to 6 and just get stretched out a little bit more. I mean, they didn't say how long Erod was out, So I think for sure he's getting one more start. He might get two more. So they're probably gonna push him a little bit more. Yeah, because they said on the broadcast like they didn't have like an actual number pitch count. They were gonna look and see kind of how he was going throughout the game. He threw 71 through 5. So I'm wondering if it was like 75 probably was like the number that they'd start looking at. I thought Ryan looked great. He's been a true professional through this entire process. Like he could have been one of those guys that, why are you putting me in the bullpen? I was literally our best starter the second half of last year. Like that's kind of disrespectful. Nope. He was a complete professional. He did what the team asked. He went to the bullpen, did his job, wait for his name to be called on a game day, and he got the job done. Like if you look at his ERA, it's a little high, but I think that's kind of misleading. Like he had like I think one or two like just blow ups, but for the most part, Ryan Nelson has looked really good this year. And I thought he looked great in the start. Um, his his fastball off the top of the zone is his best pitch. If he can locate that thing right at the top of the zone, he's very difficult to hit. And he's still really good with the command on his cutter. So there's that second pitch. Like I think Ryan looked really, really good. For me, like he doesn't like it's a very low bar to clear Era. Like it's not a high bar to clear. So Ryan, like that's all you really need to do. And we saw last year they are willing to put a starting pitcher that's making a lot of money in the bullpen. And I think that's what they need to do again with Erod. Erod and Nelson need to switch. So I hope they really allow Ryan to stay because I think he gives the team the best chance at a win every fifth day.
Yeah, and I think the ERA is misleading just because he's been used as a bullpen arm for so much of this year. And I think it was just the Cubs game where he gave up 4 or 5 runs in that that inning or so that he pitched. But since then, he's been excellent. I mean, if you break down his last 3 outings, he's pitched 10 innings and given up 3 runs. That's incredible for a guy like Ryan Nelson. And if he can give us even a portion of that, 5 innings each time, 1, 2 runs, this is going to give the team so many chances and opportunities to win. I think going forward, his ERA is probably going to keep going down more and more. And then maybe at the end of this month, if he's allowed to keep pitching, you might see him have a high 3 ERA, like probably closer to, a Brandon Pfaadt type of ERA or even a Merrill Kelly type of ERA. He's probably going to have a better ERA than Zach Gallen does right now. So I think, you can ride him as long as you can. Just as of right now, you don't need Erod. Erod has been terrible, and they lose damn near every time he comes out. So you have a guy.
I mean, he does strike guys out, though. Like, that's the one thing we can say about Erod.
That's the one thing. But unfortunately, just doesn't put this team in position to win often enough. And Ryan did his job in this game. He put this team in position to win, and he did everything he could. Unfortunately, things didn't work out the Dbacks way because in this game, I have the bullpen just had some issues, but it wasn't just the bullpen; it was the
offense.
The offense as well, because they didn't score until the 9th inning. But I will say one of the issues I had in this game was the fact that Jordan Lawler, he literally just faced Yamamoto twice and was taken out immediately when it came time to face Vesia, who, he's been good, but he's been inconsistent for the Dodgers. He gives up a lot of walks. He gives up a lot of hits. He has traffic around the bases every single time he comes out. And I knew it right away. As soon as I saw Vesia coming in, I saw him have the 3 spot. I was like, he's going to take him out, isn't he? And I put it in Twitter. And like I said, I can understand the thought process in this case.
First and third with no outs, and you need to score. You're going to go with your veteran off the bench. Torrey's going to do that every time.
I understand that. But for me, it's always going to be the issue of, why bring up Jordan Lawler if you're not going to put him in these situations where he's finally facing a lefty Torrey has been putting him against righties over and over and over again. Even in the Rocky series, he just faced Herman Marquez, who is nasty. He's had a rough season so far, but his last 2 outings, he's gone 7 innings, like both times, because he's a good righty. He didn't face any other lefties. Like, what are we doing here? As right now, he has 9 at bats. They've played 9 games. He has had, if you follow, an average of 1 at bat per game. And in this one, he had 2 at bats, put in Gino, immediately swings at the first pitch, way inside, pops it up, and doesn't move any of the runners out. Jordan Lawler can get struck out too. Like, he can have an unproductive out too. And I don't understand. I mean, like I said, I understand putting in Gino, but at the same time, I don't understand the constant misuse of Jordan Lawler and the refusal to use him at all. Same with Christian De Oca. I don't understand this refusal to use your young guys, and it seems like there's such a weird disconnect between the front office and Torrey, the way he's been managing guys. Like, why not use Christian? Why not use Lawler? They're up there for a reason, but instead he goes to Ryan Thompson with an 8 ERA, or he goes with Man Supply with the 15 ERA. Like, I don't understand these situations, but the way the bullpen went, Gabriel Moreno, he showed up in the ninth. He hit a home run. It tied the game going into the bottom of the ninth. And who was it?
Ginkle.
Was it Ginkle? Ginkle came in, shut the door on the Dodgers.
I wouldn't say shut the door. He definitely struggled.
I mean, he struggled. He struggled, but he shut the door
done.
on him. He got the job done. He got out of the inning. He saved his game for now. And then the 10th came in, a 2-run bomb from Corbin Carroll, put his team up 3-1. And I think all of us were like, damn, I wish they could have gotten at least one more. And during this game, there was a few times they had the bases loaded like twice.
Brett,
the 7th and the 8th.
Brett literally said, that's not going to be enough. He was right.
Of course, it's not going to be enough. It's the Dodgers. And at that point, we were all like frustrated, even earlier on in the 7th and the 8th, when they had the bases loaded and 2 guys on, and just their inability to move the runners. They were 2 for 9 runners in scoring position in this game. They had 7 hits and 3 walks. They had 10 runners overall on the bags. I believe this was when Corbin got hit as well. So you had 11, 12 runners on the bags, and this team just did nothing with them. They didn't move any of them at all. Just looked absolutely pathetic. And then came the 10th. Corbin hits a 2-run bomb, puts the team up, like we said. We all felt like it wasn't enough. Now, the bottom of the 10th came in, Shelby Miller. I will say the Tommy Edman hit, that ball was like 5 inches out of the zone.
No. It was way far. Like,
that thing was
I'd say
on the
foot.
That thing was on the other's batter's box. That's one of those, like, just a good piece of hitting. He literally threw his bat, prayed for a miracle at that point. What can you do about it? But the run scored, Ohtani. So I think this is, where we feel it all went wrong. And, we can get your thoughts on it right now. But Ohtani intentionally walked, then Betts hit a fly out. Ohtani steals second, then Freeman walked. Smith hit by pitch, and then Muncy hit fly. There was 2 intentional walks in this game. Do you think Torrey's unique decision to walk? What is it? Was it he walked Ohtani, didn't walk Freeman because the bases were open? Do you agree with him walking both Ohtani and Freeman to load up the bases twice?
100%. I would. You do those moves 100 out of 100 times. You want to know why? Because it's Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. Like, if Freddie wasn't batting like 360 right now and also didn't murder us no matter where he plays, I'd be okay pitching to Freddie Freeman. But it's Freddie kills us and Shohei's Shohei. Like, you're going to do that when you have an open base and you have a chance for a double play. Now, Shelby probably should have checked on Ohtani a little bit so he doesn't steal. Like, as soon as he stole, I'm like, I know exactly what Torrey's going to do. He's going to intentionally walk again. Like, this is just like the Friday game when they were here. We talked about we were questioning some of Torrey's moves there in the 9th inning. And like I said, any decision Torrey makes, there's a vocal I wouldn't say a majority. There is a vocal group of the fan base that will rip him no matter what decision he makes. He could have said, Shelby, pitch to Ohtani, and then Ohtani hits a homer. Said, why did you pitch to Ohtani? Why didn't you walk him? Same thing to Freddie Freeman. Like, I truly feel bad for Torrey because it doesn't matter what decision he makes, that vocal portion of the fan base that wants him gone will not give him the benefit of the doubt that he's trying to make the right decisions. I personally feel these were the right decisions. I will say, if Josh asks a good question. Do you walk Freddie if Ohtani doesn't steal? No, because you can try to induce the ground. Freddie, if you can get him to induce on the ground, it's an easy double play. He's not fast, so you should be able to turn it. You now have an open base, and if Freddie hits a single, Ohtani scores. I will say, if you get a ball thrown at you, don't you normally want to like turn your back and get out of the way? It's not what Will Smith did. Like, he turned in with his elbow, which I think he does a lot because there's a reason why he has an elbow guard. I like that. Like, he didn't even attempt to get out of the way. Now, should have Shelby thrown that ball inside to even have that chance? Probably not. But this really, like, if you really want to think about it, this comes down to Ryan Thompson. If Ryan Thompson does not struggle on Monday, gets the job done, Shelby doesn't have to get up, get loose, warm up in the bullpen, come in to get the one out on Monday. So he doesn't have to go a third day in a row. Like, he would have gotten Monday off. So, like, there's, like, just right now, it just, if it's not one thing, it's another with this bullpen, because this team, in terms of runs scored, the Diamondbacks are 5th in Major League Baseball. 256 runs scored. Their run differential is 4. That's how bad the pitching has been. And I think it's mainly the bullpen, if you were to probably look at all the numbers. So, yeah, it's frustrating. Like you really feel like no lead is safe. Like, we saw what happened Saturday against the Rockies. 5-run lead with the bullpen. You're like, oh, we're good to go. No. And then we saw what happened on Monday. 6-run lead in the 9th inning, and you had to come in to bring the closer. So, like, this lack of we've had like maybe 2 good games all year. It just feels like every other game, one part of the team struggles, whether it's starting pitching, whether it's the bullpen, whether that's hitting. So, yeah, like, I get why we're like, do we punt on the season? Like, do we do that on May 22nd? No. But there's probably a majority of the fan base that thinks, oh, it's the guy at the helm. Torrey's lost the clubhouse. Torrey's not lost the clubhouse. Torrey, because if he did, this team would still not be playing hard for Torrey. I know everyone think like the easy answer when teams are struggling, fire the manager. But a lot of this is player execution, not necessarily Torrey. Now, some of the decisions are on Torrey, like the fact that we bring up Jordan Lawler and we play him like every 4 days. Like, how is he supposed to get into a rhythm? How is he supposed to have confidence? Like, Jordan's probably going to start on Saturday, or I hope, because it's a lefty on the mound for the Cardinals. So we'll see. Sorry, I just, like, we had this game. It's just, again,
Yeah.
execution.
Yeah, but I do understand what the comments a lot of the people were saying as well. Is like, sometimes you got to let a pitcher pitch. You can't just keep putting guys on, giving them free bases. Again, it is Freddie Freeman, it is Shohei Ohtani. You sometimes have to pick your poison. I guess I'm on the fence for either one of these. I think if this was J-Mart on the mound, you don't walk these guys. Like, I don't care who it is. You don't walk Shohei. You don't walk Freddie Freeman if it's J-Mart.
Also, if it's not his 3rd game in 3 days. I think if he doesn't pitch Monday, I think Torrey lets him go after him.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, that's kind of one of the big issues. Just this management of the bullpen, these other games led to guys just being overused in these next couple of games. Like I said, Gainwell pitched 3 games this season. Christian nowhere to be seen. I don't even know. I don't know if they had a shot of him on the freaking bench. Like, where is
They
he at?
had they had him once in the Rocky series. I do remember seeing that. I don't remember what day it might have been.
It's like
Saturday.
it's like Schrodinger's cat. Like he is there, but also not there because
It wasn't.
he's just. What's frustrating to me about that is just the fact that by the time he goes down to Reno, he's not going to pitch for 10 days. All the work that he put in, it's just not going to matter. But I mean, we can get to it later. But in this case, this was a really frustrating loss, and like they had it in the bag. Fortunately, it just didn't work out that way again. Shelby has been steady. He wasn't brought on this team to be the closer.
He was a minor league free agent.
He was a minor league free agent. He was supposed to be the C and B bullpen. Same with all these other guys that they signed. Like Kendall Graveman wasn't supposed to be in a bullpen. They signed him for $1.5 million. You know who's still out there? David Peterson, who had a 1.5 ERA in like 70 innings last year, still throws in the upper 90s. There's a lot of guys that haven't been signed, and I feel like, what are we doing here? And I think this is going to go down to roster construction with Torre just putting too much trust in guys who
Hazen. It's on Hazen too.
Hazen, not Torre. That's my bad. Yeah, Hazen just putting too much trust in these guys, and we're going to get to it later. Another issue with the roster construction as well. But in this one, unfortunately, I mean, like I said, Shelby, he wasn't brought here for that. I think people are getting mad at Shelby. I think they're misplacing their anger to a certain extent just because of his overuse. I mean, 3 days in a row, he still has to warm up and do everything else. Like, and this isn't a normal team. This is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're coming off the World Series. Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Will Smith. That's the guys that he was facing off against, and unfortunately couldn't get the job done. He got the 2 outs, but unfortunately, just because of the stupid Manfred runner, didn't end up mattering in the end.
I hate it so much. Gives so much advantage to the home team. It really does.
All right. So, anyways, I guess they brushed off to the game. He felt a little bit better knowing that Corbin Burnes was going to make a start in Game 3, and disaster struck again in this game. Some notable tidbits. Marte hit his 150th career home run. So congrats to him. Burnes just absolutely dominated them for the most part. He threw a jam. The only issue was just hanging his slider to Teoscar Hernandez for a two-run bomb, I believe, right? Or 3-run? Three-run bomb. The weird part of that one, that was only his second slider of the day. He had him completely fooled on 2 cutters way outside the zone. He was swinging out of his shoes. He hung a slider, his only other slider of the game. Just, you can't do that, my guy. But either way, like we said, he would have had to throw a complete game shutout in order to give this team a chance to win, because the only offense of this game was that Marte home run in the first inning, right?
Yes, first inning.
In the first inning, third inning. Fourth inning, my bad.
Third? Oh, okay.
Fourth inning, Marte hit the home run. Other than that, completely just shut out. But it wasn't because they were dominated. This team had 7 hits in this game and 1 walk. They were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. They left 7 men on base. But Gabby, he has a 313 average with 25 hits and 5 home runs. 19 RBI, 7 runs scored in 22 games against the Dodgers in his career. So we've renamed Walker Stadium to now Moreno Stadium because he just absolutely dominates the Dodgers in LA. But the first topic of this conversation is going to be focused on Burnes. He had his 3rd straight great start, quality start, not just quality, but just straight up dominant start. He's finally seeming to be comfortable here. He's looked very, very good in his last few starts. He has 2.73 ERA. He has 51 strikeouts and 52 innings. He should have a lot more wins than he does, but unfortunately, because of what we're going to see, this offense just hasn't helped him at all. But do you think there's something else that he should probably work on? Should he mix in his curveball a little bit more, or his changeup?
I think personally he should be working on his curveball. Just kind of sprinkle it in there just a little bit more, because I feel like if he if he leans on his cutter too much, like I get that it's good, but if guys know that it's coming, they're gonna be able to hit it. So I think if he can mix in that cutter, that curveball just a little bit more, which in this start, that was his second most pitch. He threw 96 pitches, 56 cutters, and 23 curveballs. So he definitely was using it a little bit more. It's definitely like I know his first few starts, like I think there was like a period of like two starts where like it was like 85% cutters. Like he threw just cutter, 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 cutter. I'm like, damn. And then he's been definitely slowly incorporating that curveball more. So I definitely want to see him do it a little bit more. The only thing he can do is just, I don't know, convince his teammates to start hitting the ball better when he's on the mound, because he's like, what is he like? These last three starts, this is the player that we signed to $200 million. That's what he has looked like these last three starts. He has looked so good. And it really sucks because during the commercial break after the sixth inning, you could tell he was so pissed at himself because he knew he just lost the game. Because he knew offense did not have it today. So he's just like, great. Like he was just like, and it wasn't like when you think a hung breaking ball, that's not what this was. This thing was like low and away, but it was a hittable slider. Like it wasn't like he hung it up in the zone. Teoscar Hernandez just made a really, really good hit on it.
Yes,
he just maybe a little bit more towards the corner, and I think he doesn't hit it out. So yeah, it does suck, but it really comes down to the offense.
Yeah, and I think that's like I just want to say, Corbin Burns has been absolutely worth all the money that they've been paying him so far. And if you're starting the playoffs today, and if the D-backs are in it, he probably is your game one starter, and then you put in Merrill Kelly and Brandon Pfaadt after that. Like that's how dominant he's been. He's been able to put this team in position to win, other than like a couple of key starts here and there. He's been absolutely dominant. But as some of the commenters are saying, some Tanner is saying, this team with runners in scoring position has not been it so far. So far, right now, they are 24th in runners in scoring position. They average 3.54 in 2024. So this is the stats with runners in scoring position for 2024: a 285, 365, 487, for 852 OPS. This season, 231, 308, 396. That's a
awful.
644
That's so bad.
The runners in scoring position. I think this is the main thing that's killing this team. Like we can say, the pitching, the bullpen, it doesn't matter what they do. They need to throw out shutouts because of how pathetic this offense has been. And I think one of those main issues has just been the fact that what I put on Twitter and what we've talked about before in the offseason previews and everything else was Mike Hazen put all of his trust in Pavin Smith and Randall Grichuk for whatever reason in that DH spot. And, Pavin had a good 2 weeks and he fooled everyone into thinking that he was that
Not
guy.
everyone. Not everyone.
Not everyone, but you still get people who will be all over in the comments talking about how, actually, he's hitting 290. Go back and look at his last 15 or 20 games. Tell me he's still hitting 290 after that. But Pavin Smith, the guy who was our 3-hitter for the longest time this season, our primary DH, he has 33 at-bats with runners in scoring position. He has 6 RBI. He's batting 182, 325 on base, 333 slugging for 658 OPS. That's in line for what this team is doing overall. Same with Randall Grichuk. He's been a little bit better. He hasn't been all that great, but combined, they have 200 at-bats this season as a primary DH. 200 at-bats. They have 18 combined RBI, both of them. Alec Thomas has 15 RBI on the season. You're telling me Alec Thomas, the guy who has like barely 100 at bats this season, is getting more time and more guys on base than these guys? They're not, or he's not. And somebody commented also saying that like, oh well, he's at least Pavin Smith. He has the third most, opportunities to run his competition. So there's two guys ahead of him, which I don't know what the hell that point was to make or they're trying to make. Because right now, Pavin Smith is, I believe, like ninth or 10th on the team in RBI. He's only ahead of Jake McCarthy, Ryan Nelson, and Garrett Hampson. That's it. Everyone else is way above him. This is our number 3 hitter for most of the season. He walks a lot, sure, but that's it. That's all he does. He gets runners on and he walks. He doesn't hit. He has what? Still has 4 home runs on the season. How far into? We're 50
He's
games
ahead
in.
He's ahead of Grichuk, Herrera, Barossa, and McCarthy.
All part-time guys. Look at their at bats. All of them have 50 or less at bats.
Yeah.
Pavin is at about over 140. He has 3 times their at bats. He has only a handful of RBI more than them. He's just not that guy. And finally, it took Torrey a month and a half to realize that. And he's been not the best, but he's been better, I guess, ish, since moving to the 7th or 8th hole. But he's still just not hitting with runners in scoring position. And if you look at everybody else, they're all decent enough. But I think relying so much on Payne Smith and Randall Grichuk in the DH hurt this team. So the question is, coming towards the trade deadline, I mean, I guess if the team is still in contention, did this team go out and get a DH at the deadline?
They should. I don't know what team, because right now there are too many teams that I feel like aren't ready to really give up on the season. So that's why I personally think that unless you want to call Baltimore, like you maybe talk about Ryan O'Hearn, like that could be an option. He has 7 homers. He's hitting about 300. That's what I want to see out of my DH. Like, I know everyone likes to bring up, oh, look at Pavin's OPS. If you're hitting number 3, that is a run producing spot. You should be driving runners in, or you need to hit homers. Like it's got to be one or the other. Like, I know the game has changed a little bit, has not changed that much, where your 3 and 4 guy is not the guy that's supposed to be driving in runs. You need someone there that's going to drive in Corbin and Marte, because those 2 will be at the top of the lineup. I saw someone on Twitter, it was either yesterday, saying, oh, let's put, since Perdomo can drive runners in, let's put him in the 3-hole. Jerry is not a 3-hole hitter. I love Jerry. No, Jerry is, you put 1 or 2 or 7, 8, 9. That's just like Pavin just, again, like he does this. Like, he is very good for 2 or 3 weeks, and then he regresses to the player that he is. Like, for me, he strikes out too much. And Tanner's right. Like, I'm so tired of seeing Pavin. Like, if I see runners on and 2 strikes, I'm like, Pavin's going to strike out. So it is what it is. But like, this team really does either go get an actual DH, or you move Marte to DH and you let Lawler play every day at second base. That's the only thing I can think of for the whole DH thing, is you tell Marte, all right, Marte, like, we're going to have you DH here for the next month, and we're going to let Lawler play every day at second base. That's the only other thing I can think of if they don't want to go make a trade.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that we talked about earlier, like again, before in our season preview, when talking about spring training, like how good Lawler looked. We talked about maybe moving Gino to the DH spot, because at that point they had no DH, and we were like, okay, well, Gino destroys everybody, so might as well maybe put him as a primary DH, and then maybe, get one lefty, decent lefty here and there, or go out and get JD Martinez, go out and get Paul Goldschmidt. They didn't do any of that. JD Martinez still doesn't have a job, and right now we're having to deal with a platoon of Pavin Smith and Randall Grichuk, which, I mean, look, like we mentioned, Pavin, not a terrible player, but he's had 1,200 at bats at the major league level. We know who he is. Like, just let me break down these OPSs. Um, First season, 746. Second season, 732. Third season, 667. Fourth season, 642. Last year was the first time he got over that, which he had an 895, but he only played in 60 games. It was a very limited capacity. They brought him up in very specific situations. And in that time, he had 36 RBI. He needs to hit triple that in the next 14 games. Where is that going to come from? He's been, you know, better in some ways, but so much worse in a lot of other ways. He had a 547 slugging last year. He has a 480 slugging this year. For as good as he's been, like, that's not good. That's not a number 3 guy. That's a 7 guy, an 8 guy, especially with the way he's been regressing. Like,
I
and
mean,
as season goes on,
That's why Torrey moved him about a week ago.
but we've seen what happens when he gets full time. I mean, he wasn't the last time he played that full season was 2021. He had 145. He played 145 games. He batted 267 with 328 and 404 slug. We've seen he just doesn't have any slug at all. He hit 732 again. Not terrible. That's not a terrible season. That's a decent season for a platoon / 7 or 8 guy. That's not a number 3 guy, and just the fact that Hazen refused to go get a DH, and the fact that Torrey refused to move him out of the 3 spot for the first month and a half, seeing him just not driving runs, I think that's cost his team a lot of games and a lot of runs. I mean, it's been just an overall just disaster class, I think, overall in most of the pivotal positions.
Yeah. We do have a question from Discord, which we kind of already started to answer from Red Sox Nation. Who do we want to see traded by the deadline, and who do we think we will pick up, and who do you know we won't be able to get but wish we could? So, Gabe, kind of, who do you want this team to go get, and then who do you want us to get rid of, and then who's just like one player where you're like, it's a fever dream, but why not?
I guess, I mean, the answer is always going to be Yohan Duran, just because of how nasty he's been. But obviously, the Twins are going to move on from him. But I think achievable players, I think realistic guys that this team can go out and get. Honestly, the issue is always going to be with the wild card system. There's not too many guys on the trade block. Because right now there's maybe 3 teams that are in contention. It's the Pirates, the White Sox, and the Rockies. But I don't think I want any of them at all. Like maybe oh shoot, I forgot his name. Bird on the Rockies. I think he's good.
Jake Bird.
Yeah, he doesn't have a long contract either, so I think he's an achievable guy. But other than that, I don't think there's too many options that this team can go out and get where you're like, okay, this is a game changer. I think the question is always going to be, do we find an answer within for some of these bullpen guys and for some of these, struggling guys on offense, and for specifically, I think for me, the DH role, like who can I mean, do the Blue Jays have anybody? Bo Bichette, like he's not accepting an extension.
Right now, it's really hard.
I believe this is his last year. I mean, the Blue Jays,
it is.
They're not, they're in the middle of the pack. I think, closing in as the season goes on, they're in second place in that division, but they are 2 games out of the wild card. But like I said, like with the way the wild card system works, it's a little bit difficult as of right now to determine because again, 1 or 2 really good weeks or really bad weeks is going to make all the difference for some teams.
For me, it's really easy. It's Felix Bautista from the Baltimore Orioles. They are 16 games under 500. I don't think that's getting any better for them. They fired their manager. They should be firing their GM because it's really on him. Like, there's nothing a lot that Brandon Hyde could do. But I would love for them to trade for Felix Bautista because just to think of him with Jamar and then Puck in that back end, like, that would be a deadly 7, 8, 9 there. So that's personally what I would like them to go do. Now, if we're talking about a player that it's not happening, but it's a nice fever dream, and that's Paul Skeens. Like
Yeah.
we know that's not happening. I think the Pirates will eventually trade him. He has 4 years of control. There's no way that would be the biggest return we've ever seen. Like we're talking about probably like 3 top prospects and probably 3 major league ready players. So, I mean, Pirates did come out today, basically said, no, we're not trading him. And I'm like, this year? Because you probably will when you only have like maybe 2 years of control left. Because you might be able to take a little bit less. Tanner asks, will Skeens be a Dodger? Who knows? But they're not trading him this year. Teams are still going to call close to the trading deadline. And the Pirates GM is going to pick up the phone, immediately hang up because they're like, no, we're not trading him. So for me, it's Felix Bautista. Like that's the one that I really like because it's bullpen really like I feel like we have plenty of internal options and there's a way to manipulate the lineup right now to have a good DH. Whether that's putting Marte there and putting Lawler at second or put Gino at DH because Lawler was at Tuesday made a phenomenal play at third base, made a great scoop. So like we know that Jordan's going to be good. He just needs to be given an opportunity. And so far, he really hasn't had a chance to play consistently. That's what's frustrating to me is he'll play one day and have like 2 or 3 days off in a row. I'm like, how is he supposed to get into a rhythm?
Yeah, that's why I posted that video from It's Always Sunny where it's just like, well, we got to crack down or we got to open up mental hospitals. Like, well, that's going to raise my taxes. No, I'm not raising my taxes. Then we're going to have to close them down. Well, we can't have lunatics running around. Well, that's going to raise your taxes. What? I'm not raising my taxes. And that's how it feels arguing with people. And I posted that clip and they did the exact same thing in the comments where they're like,
I'm like, y'all just proving the point.
He's just proving the point. Like, he hasn't proven anything. Like, well, you need to give him some at-bats. He has 9 in the last 9 days. Not even 9 days, 9 games. It's 10
at bats, but sorry, I'm just
it's been like 11, 12 days since he's been called up.
Yeah.
He's nearing in 14 days since he's been called up, and he's had, like you said, 10, 11 at bats, and it's been inconsistent at bats as well. I don't know what the hell we're doing with him. I'm getting to the point where Torrey lied, Hazen lied. John,
you can't send him down.
He tweeted out.
You cannot send him down though.
He tweeted out like we gave a game plan over and over on this podcast and even on Twitter about how they can utilize Lawler to the extent where he is getting 15 20 at bats and he's playing 3 to 4 games, and they haven't done any of that. And that was the plans we came up with. John Gambadoro tweeted up. Guess what his team told him? Torrey, with his chest out, said what they were going to do with Lawler. They haven't done any of that. So at this point, I'm like, why have him up here? Like, I don't want him to get sent down, but also I'm like, he's not doing anything. They're not giving him any at bats. Like, does Torrey just not want him on the team? Like, at this point, I'm like, I think Torrey's a liar. Like, I don't think he wants him on his team at all, or else he would be finding him at bats. Because I went back and looked, like, okay, since Lawler's been called up, how many at bats have Tim Tall had? Tall has had 15 at bats. Tall can at least cover center
because he's the backup center fielder. Yeah.
And even then, I feel like Alex should probably still get as many at bats as Tim Tall. It's not like Tim Tall is, lighting things up either. He's cooled off a lot since hitting those 5 home runs. He hasn't really done much since then. But I don't know. I truly don't know what direction this team is going right now. And they got to figure it out sooner than later because you don't want to look into those standings and see you're 6 games out of a wild card spot before the All-Star break. Because at that point, you're playing catch up the entire season the way they did last year. And I know a lot of fans still bring that up. Like, oh, well, they turned it around in the second half. They still missed the playoffs because when you're 6 games out of a wild card spot, there's no room for mistakes. Like, look at the Padres. The Padres on their 6-game losing streak, I believe, 7-game losing streak.
6.
And they're still the number 3 wild card. That's how good they started. And that's how, despite how bad they've been as of late, they're still in that wild card spot because of that, because they were able to have such a strong start. They went on a winning streak, and this team just hasn't done that. They haven't had any real winning streaks other than 3 games. And it's just been very frustrating. And like I said, I just don't know what direction this team is going right now, and I don't understand it. But I wanted to make a comment real quick about Felix Bautista. I don't think they'd be willing to give him up just because they have 2 more years of control with him, which are arbitration eligible years for him as well. Maybe they would if they want to cut payroll. If he does really good this year, maybe they're going to want to cut some payroll. But I don't know. Again, we don't know what this team's going to give up, and maybe that's why keeping Jake McCarthy down to raise his value. I think we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer for any real moves to be made for this team. They're probably just going to look at internal options for now, see if maybe Backus or oh my god, that other dude who has like 15 innings without a run.
Ahmet?
Uh, uh, what's his name? Ament, right?
Yeah.
He has a weird last name. Yeah, so maybe they might look to them. Christian Mena is still down there. There's a few guys I think that they could reuse at some point, at least with the bullpen. But with this offense, I think has to be some sort of overhaul, especially with the DH spot. And Joe Mather, he should be on the hot seat, and he's just not. And I don't know what any options there would be for a hitting coach either. But I guess that concludes the series review. I think we're all just really disappointed with the way things worked out. I feel like they could have had the Dodgers in each one of these games. Unfortunately, just couldn't come through for 203. But they are facing off against the Cardinals this series. Zach Gallen goes against Miles Mikolas. Gallen with the 5.14 ERA versus Mikolas with a 3.77 ERA. Then Merrill Kelly against is it Jose Liberatore?
Matt
Liberatore. Kelly with a 3.26 ERA and Liberatore with a 2.92 ERA. He has been very good this season. Brandon Pfaadt goes against Sonny Gray. Pfaadt with a 3.18 ERA, 8.1 ERA, and Gray with a 4.02 ERA. Again, we're going to say the same thing we've been saying this whole time. I think they are going to be able to take 2 out of 3. Probably the Kelly and Pfaadt starts, just because of how bad Gallen has been and how good Mikolas has been. But what are your thoughts? Do you have anybody you're pinpointing to, or do you have a prediction for this series?
Herrera. Tori, start Herrera with Gallen. Like that, his good starts have been with Herrera behind the plate. I am willing to sacrifice. I know Gabby's hitting really, really well right now, but Gallen just seems to perform better with Herrera behind the plate. And maybe we're gonna see future D-back Ryan Helsey in this series. I know everyone has been Ryan Helsey all year, all off season too. They ain't moving him right now based on where they are. So that's definitely not happening. They have a really good catching player in Ivan Herrera. He's been just crushing the ball lately. And then how's Nolan Arenado done this year? He's batting 240 with 5 homers. So he's not actually he's So yeah, I think 2 out of 3 is definitely possible. Keep in mind, Friday game is an Apple TV Plus game. So it's gonna suck for a lot of I can see the tweets now. Why should I have to pay for another subscription service to watch? Blame MLB. That's literally all on that. They choose what games get broadcasted. So, but a series win would be nice, especially because we're 1 game back. So we take 2 out of 3, then we're going to be tied. Right?
Yeah.
No.
I think they need to. They're 2 games. I don't know. It's confusing. Point is, I think they just have to win the series, keep themselves in contention for this wild card spot. It's just with the way this offense is looking. I'm hoping that they show up with this series, get some guys on, and not rely so much on the home run, because that's kind of all the offense was these last 3 games, which is something I've never liked to see. But Anyways, before we go, I just want to say quickly, like we're talking about Torrey, getting fired and whatnot. Like, I don't think they should. The Orioles fired their manager, and honestly, I feel so bad for Orioles fans because they just have gotten nothing. And my issue always is going to be is they defend their owner so much. I don't understand why. He has done nothing since taking over for the team. He has refused to really spend any sort of money. And the first thing he does is fire Brandon Hyde, who won Manager of the Year, has taken his team to the playoffs. And I think it's so unfortunate to see this happen to Brandon Hyde. He is one of the good guys in baseball, and I think he's going to find a job pretty soon. It's not his fault. It's purely roster construction. So if you guys want to see the opposite end of where the D-backs are compared to other teams,
this is what happens
this is it.
when you this is what happens to a team when you fire the manager. They most of the time they get worse. So if I think a lot of the fan base thinks, oh, Torrey's holding us back. Torrey is the one that won't allow us to succeed. Look at the Orioles right now. Like, they are worse since they fired their manager. Like, that's what almost every fan base solution is when it seems like the team is stuck. Oh, fire the coach, fire the manager. Sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes it gets worse. So now if we're, like we said on this podcast before, if we have another August-September collapse, then yes, fire Torrey. But right now, that's not going to do anything. Like right now, it is not all on the manager with the struggles. It's a part of it, but it's not like, oh, you fire the manager and all of our problems will be solved. Our offense will begin to hit. Our bullpen will be better. It's not going to fix the issue. And I don't see this team on really punting away the season at the end of May. Based on only being 2 games out of the wild card and 4 games out of the divisional lead, you have a good 2-week stretch. Like we said, if they can rattle 7 out of 8 or 9 out of 10, all of a sudden you're in a good spot.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. Just get some sort of winning streak. But we just want to thank everybody who joined, Tanner, Josh in the comments, everyone else who joins on Twitter. Make sure to like and subscribe if this is your first time here. Like this video. You can always leave a comment. We will respond afterwards. Join our Discord. It's always popping off in there. And we'll see you guys next time, hopefully Sunday with a series win. Bye.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Brennan gave on the call with Josh in the back, bringing it on.